Hello, and a very warm welcome to Wonder Garden. It's lovely to have you with us. There's a particular kind of quiet satisfaction that comes from tending to your own patch of earth, watching something grow from a tiny seed into food for your table. It's a connection, isn't it? A rhythm that grounds us. And as we look ahead, with the promise of a new growing season on the horizon, our thoughts naturally turn to what we can achieve. How can we make this next year our most productive, most rewarding one yet? Today, we're going to be looking specifically at the vegetable garden for 2025. It's not about grand, sweeping changes, but rather a series of thoughtful, practical steps you can take to truly maximize your harvest. We'll be moving beyond the basics and exploring some of the finer points that can make all the difference between a good garden and a truly great one. These are tips born from experience, tried and tested, and updated for the modern gardener who wants to get the very best from their space, no matter its size. So whether you're tending a few pots on a balcony or a sprawling allotment, I invite you to join me. We'll walk through the process together, from the very first thoughts of planning to the final satisfying act of harvesting. These are actionable ideas you can put into practice right away to set yourself up for a year of incredible abundance. Let's get our hands dirty, shall we? Before a single seed is sown, the most important work begins right here, with a pencil and a piece of paper. Planning your garden layout is not merely about deciding where things will look nice, it is the fundamental blueprint for a successful year. Think of yourself as an architect of your own small, edible world. Consider the sun's path across your garden. Which areas get the most light? These are your prime locations for sun-loving crops like tomatoes, peppers, and squash. Where does the shade fall? That's where your leafy greens, your lettuces, and spinach will be happiest, protected from the harshest afternoon heat. Drawing a simple map allows you to see your space with fresh eyes, to truly maximize every square inch. This initial planning is also your first and best opportunity to think about crop rotation. It's a simple principle, but one that is profoundly effective. You should avoid planting the same family of vegetables, say brassicas like broccoli and cabbage, in the same spot year after year. Doing so depletes specific nutrients from the soil and invites pests and diseases to build up and overwinter, waiting for their favorite meal to return. By rotating your crop families through different beds each year, you break these cycles. You create a healthier, more balanced ecosystem, which in turn gives you stronger plants and a much more generous harvest. This simple act of forethought is your greatest tool. The seed is a remarkable thing. It holds all the potential, all the genetic information for the plant that is to be. And in today's world, we are incredibly fortunate to have access to varieties that have been carefully bred, not just for flavor and yield, but for resilience. When you're selecting your seeds for the 2025 season, I urge you to look beyond the familiar names and read the descriptions carefully. Look for terms like disease-resistant, specifically against common ailments like blight on tomatoes or powdery mildew on courgettes. Choosing these modern, robust varieties is like giving your garden a head start. You're stacking the odds firmly in your favor from the very beginning. It's not about abandoning cherished heirloom varieties. Their flavor and history are invaluable. Rather, it's about creating a balanced portfolio in your garden. Perhaps you plant a row of your favorite traditional Brandywine tomatoes, but alongside them, you plant a row of a modern, blight-resistant variety like Crimson Crush. This way, you ensure that even if conditions are challenging, even if the weather is damp and blight becomes a problem, you are still almost guaranteed a harvest. It's a pragmatic approach that reduces the potential for disappointment and dramatically increases your overall productivity, ensuring your efforts are rewarded with baskets full of healthy, delicious produce. The gardening calendar can sometimes feel frustratingly short, especially in more temperate climates. But we have a way to stretch it, to steal a few precious weeks and get a significant head start on the season. And that is by starting seeds indoors. It's a gentle, nurturing process that takes place on a sunny windowsill or under a simple grow light, while the weather outside is still unpredictable and often harsh. By sowing seeds of tender crops like tomatoes, chilies, and aubergines indoors, 6 to 8 weeks before your last frost date, you are essentially extending your growing season. You're giving these plants a running start in a controlled, protected environment. When the time finally comes to plant them out into the garden, you are not putting out a vulnerable, tiny seedling. You are planting a strong, vigorous, well-established young plant that is ready to thrive. This single technique can be the difference between a late, modest harvest and an early, abundant one. It allows the plants to mature and begin fruiting much earlier, giving you a longer period of productivity throughout the summer and into the autumn. It is a small effort that pays enormous dividends, a quiet ritual of hope that connects you to the coming season long before it has truly begun. All life in the garden springs from the soil. It is the foundation upon which everything else is built. And honestly, one of the most effective ways to control and improve this vital element is by using raised beds. A raised bed allows you to create the perfect growing medium from scratch, unburdened by the quality of your native soil, which might be heavy clay, stony, or compacted. It provides excellent drainage, which is crucial for root health, and it warms up faster in the spring, giving you an earlier start. Furthermore, the simple act of raising the garden up makes it more accessible, saving your back from a great deal of strain during planting, weeding, and harvesting. But the structure is only half the story. What you fill it with is what truly matters. You want to create a soil that is friable, dark, and teeming with life. The key to this is organic matter. Generous amounts of well-rotted garden compost, leaf mold, or manure should be incorporated every single year. This material feeds the soil biology, the worms, the fungi, the microorganisms, which in turn feed your plants. It improves soil structure, helps retain moisture, and provides a slow, steady release of nutrients. Investing time and effort into building beautiful soil in your raised beds is the single most important investment you can make in the long-term health and productivity of your vegetable garden. A productive garden is never a static garden. It is a space in constant dynamic flow. The principle of succession planting is the key to unlocking this continuous productivity. It is the art of seeing not just what is growing now, but what could be growing in its place tomorrow. The moment a crop is finished, the moment you pull the last of your early potatoes or clear a row of lettuce that has bolted, that space becomes an opportunity. Don't let it sit empty. Have seedlings ready to go or seeds in hand to immediately fill that gap. It's a mindset of continuous cultivation that keeps your garden working for you all season long. Think in terms of relays. As your first early lettuces are harvested, a new row can be sown. When the garlic is lifted in midsummer, that sunny spot is perfect for planting out autumn brassicas like kale or purple sprouting broccoli. You can follow fast-growing radishes with bush beans, and then follow those beans with a late sowing of spinach for winter. This requires a little forethought and perhaps some seedlings grown on in pots ready to be slotted in. But this dance of succession ensures there are no lulls, no unproductive periods. Your garden becomes a place of constant renewal, providing a steady, unbroken stream of fresh food from the first thaws of spring right through to the frosts of autumn. Water is, of course, absolutely essential for life, but how we provide it to our plants can make a vast difference to their health and our own efficiency. The common practice of spraying water from above with a hose or sprinkler is often wasteful. Much of it evaporates before it even reaches the soil, and wet foliage can create the perfect humid conditions for fungal diseases like mildew and blight to take hold. The goal is to deliver water directly where it's needed most, at the roots. This is where techniques like drip irrigation or soaker hoses come into their own. They deliver water slowly and directly to the soil surface, allowing it to percolate deep down to the root zone with minimal loss to evaporation. Equally important is the practice of mulching. After you've watered deeply, applying a thick layer of organic mulch, such as straw, garden compost, or shredded leaves, around your plants is transformative. This layer acts like a blanket, shielding the soil from the sun and dramatically reducing moisture loss. It also suppresses weeds, which compete with your vegetables for water and nutrients, and as the mulch breaks down, it slowly feeds the soil. By combining deep, direct watering with a generous mulch, you create a water-wise system that not only conserves a precious resource, but also fosters a more stable, moist environment for roots to thrive, leading to stronger, healthier, and more productive plants. A truly successful garden is never a monoculture. It's a bustling ecosystem, and we gardeners are merely the custodians. We need allies, and our most important partners are the pollinators and beneficial insects. Bees, hoverflies, and butterflies are essential for the pollination of our fruiting crops. Without them, your courgettes, beans, tomatoes, and squash simply will not produce. To invite them in, you must provide a banquet for them. Intersperse your vegetable rows with flowers. Simple, open-faced flowers like cosmos, marigolds, borage, and phacelia are particularly effective. They not only add beauty to the vegetable patch, but act as beacons, drawing in pollinators from far and wide. Beyond the pollinators, there is a whole host of other beneficial insects that act as your garden's private security force. Ladybirds and their larvae have a voracious appetite for aphids. The larvae of the lacewing are known as aphid lions for good reason. Hoverfly larvae also consume vast quantities of pests. By planting a diverse range of flowers and avoiding the use of broad-spectrum pesticides, you create a welcoming habitat for these predators. You are building a balanced environment where pests are kept in check naturally. This biological pest control is far more effective and sustainable in the long run than any chemical spray, creating a garden that is not just productive, but truly alive. Pests are an inevitable part of gardening. A completely pest-free garden doesn't exist, and frankly, wouldn't be a healthy ecosystem. The goal is not eradication, but management and balance. The most powerful tool you have in this endeavor is observation. Make a habit of walking through your garden every day or two, not just to admire, but to inspect. Look closely at your plants. Check the undersides of leaves for aphids or eggs. Look for the telltale slime trails of slugs and snails. Notice any chewed leaves on your brassicas, a sure sign of cabbage white caterpillars. Early detection is absolutely critical. Dealing with a small, localized problem is infinitely easier than tackling a full-blown infestation. When you do find a problem, resist the urge to reach for a chemical spray, which can harm your beneficial insects and disrupt the garden's delicate balance. There is a whole armory of organic solutions at your disposal. Aphids can often be dislodged with a simple jet of water from a hose. Cabbage whites can be thwarted by covering your brassicas with fine netting. Slugs and snails can be trapped or picked off by hand in the evening. Creating barriers of crushed eggshells or wool pellets can also be effective. By being a watchful, proactive gardener and employing these gentle, targeted methods, you can protect your crops and maintain a healthy, thriving ecosystem where nature's own checks and balances do most of the work for you. Of all the tools in the shed, perhaps the most valuable over the long term is one that never touches the soil: a garden journal. Our memories can be unreliable. We forget exactly when we sowed those carrots, or which variety of tomato performed so brilliantly last summer. A journal is your garden's memory. It's a place to record the simple, crucial facts: sowing dates, transplanting dates, first and last harvest dates. Note down which varieties you planted and where. This information is invaluable when it comes to planning crop rotation for the following year. It turns guesswork into a clear, data-driven plan. But a journal can be so much more than a ledger of dates. It's a space for observation and reflection. Make a note of that long dry spell in July and how your mulched beds coped compared to the unmulched ones. Record the first appearance of black fly on your broad beans and which companion plants seem to help. Sketch out your planting layouts. Paste in the empty seed packets. Note your successes, but just as importantly, record your failures. What didn't work, and why do you think that is? This practice of recording, reviewing, and learning turns every season, good or bad, into a valuable lesson. It is the single best way to ensure that your 2026 garden will be even more productive than your 2025 one. And so our walk through the garden comes to an end for today. We've covered a great deal, from the foundational importance of a good plan and healthy soil, to the dynamic dance of succession planting, and the vital role of our insect allies. These aren't rigid rules, but rather guiding principles. Ideas for you to adapt and adopt for your own unique space. The real joy of gardening lies in the doing, in the experimenting, and in the learning. I wholeheartedly encourage you to take one or two of these tips and really make them your own in your 2025 garden. The beauty of a community like this is that we can all learn from one another. Every garden is different, and every gardener has their own wealth of experience. So please, do share your own thoughts in the comments below. What are your most treasured tips for a productive vegetable patch? Do you have any questions about what we've discussed today? I would genuinely love to hear from you and start a conversation. Your insights are what make this community so rich and rewarding for everyone. Finally, if you found this time together helpful and you'd like to join us for more gardening advice and inspiration, please do consider liking this video and subscribing to the Wonder Garden channel. And don't forget to press that little notification bell so you won't miss our next journey into the garden. Until then, I wish you the very best of luck and happy gardening.